when I first heard about Bitcoin, that was kind of my default, was just to assume that anything like that has to be inherently bad or evil. And I even wrote a blog piece maybe in 2013 or 14 saying that. Like, I didn't know anything about it really, but I was just like, I would be weary of this. This is, some kind of a trick. And that was because at that time, it was right around, Obama had been in for a year. And I think everybody's expectations about the economy in general were pretty bad with Obama. Um, and then I think that, that we'd had the housing collapse in 2008 and 9. And so there was just a very dismal outlook. The public confidence was very dismal in terms of the economy during the Obama administration. So, all of those things probably affected why I was just very reticent initially, and I just didn't know what I was talking about. And over time, what did I hear? I don't know that I even heard one specific thing, but I remember in 2017 when I noticed Bitcoin going up, I was like, well, why is it going up if it's this big scam, and are they just pumping it to dump it? And I remember all of the news at that time was really just hammering away at it. So my first suspicion that maybe this isn't that bad is, well, if the system is constantly attacking it, trying to destroy it, constantly talking about how much of a scam it is, I know the system is constantly lying. Well, why are they why would they be saying that? So if the news is just baloney and the central banks hate Bitcoin, why? I mean, is this a long scheme of, oh, they're really attacking Bitcoin because they want you to get Bitcoin? So I just started doubting that approach, that wasn't very likely and very tenable. Yes, maybe they could be playing a 66-degree chess game where they want you to buy Bitcoin so they can destroy it down the road. But it just didn't make sense, because the more I would hear, these boomer Charlie Mungers and Dan Pina or whatever his name is, and Warren Buffett, when I would hear them attack it, I would hear them saying stuff that made no sense. They didn't know what they were talking about. So the more I would learn about Bitcoin, the more they don't know what they're talking. Why that doesn't even make sense. It's a bad argument. And as a philosopher, I try to recognize bad arguments. That's what we do, is look for fallacies. And so I would just notice more and more bad argumentation, bad reasons. And then I listened to Max for many, many years. Even when I was skeptical of Bitcoin, I heard him talking about it way early on when it was like $1. I was still listening to Max's show all the time, and I knew his take on central banking. And I remember in 2014 or 15, I went through about maybe 100 episodes of Max's shows, and I would take notes to try to learn more about economics. I went and I listened to hours and hours of Peter Schiff's podcast. I would listen to his lectures, taking notes. And so I just really wanted to learn more about economics. And the more I heard from Max, I just felt like he had a much better argument, about a better case for Bitcoin, as opposed to the things I was hearing from critics like Peter Schiff, who I still liked on gold and stuff. And I read Peter Schiff's books over the years too. And I just felt like Max had better argumentation. As a philosopher, I could judge who had the better argument, who had a more logical presentation overall. And so eventually I just got into it in terms of it from an investing perspective. I wasn't really that philosophically invested. I was just interested in, how can I put the money that I'm making into something that's not going to lose value through inflation, crazy inflation over a year or over 2 years. And so it was just purely pragmatically motivated in 2017. I got scared again when we had the crash in 2017 from 19,000 down to 3 or whatever it was eventually. But I was still very ignorant. I didn't know much about it, what it was, why we were doing this. And then over time, I would kind of, buy a little more and kind of play around and experimenting with trading a little bit here and there and learning more about it. And eventually another thing that was a big vindicator for me was Vindication, was how you would, if you followed this stuff from news in 2010, 11, 12 to now, you have seen the same FUD recycled. And so when I saw, like, I've seen this for 12 years, 10 years. This is a stupid argument that they just recycle every couple of years or even every year. And so one by one, all of the objections just fell away. And it was just like, that's a dumb argument. I've heard that for 12 years. China, oh, China, and they would just hear these same dumb arguments over and over and over. It's a Ponzi scheme. And you realize, no, the fiat system is a Ponzi scheme, not Bitcoin, right? So over and over and over, the objections just fell away. And then I met certain people who were involved in coding, who were involved in early Bitcoin, who were involved in engineering, and they explained a lot of stuff I didn't know, and just made it even more coherent and clear for me. So it's a learning curve that we all go through. Not that I've gotten, I mean, that's still a lot I don't know, but you know, that's what it takes to be ahead of the time, ahead of the curve. That's what it takes. I mean, even 2017 is for most people ahead of the curve because you know, we're still early in Bitcoin. I think we're going to see obviously Bitcoin going to, I don't know when, but you know, ultimately eventually be $1 million probably in 5 to 10 years at least. Especially if the existing system continues with its spiraling out of control madness. So yeah, that's a long-winded reply to just a long period of research. The more that I got involved in, you know, trading cryptos and moving this there and doing this and that, experimenting with this, the more confident you get. I remember the first time I bought Bitcoin, I was really nervous. I was like, are they going to take my money? My money's going to disappear. But so over time, you know, you get confident and comfortable with it, and you're not as worried. So it was just education, really.